Hello, and welcome back to Wheel of Games. We're currently in Season 0, so named because I'm still working on the construction of the wheel itself. As you can see, I'm making my own wheel, and still has a good ways to go, but it's definitely coming along. Nice. So, definitely still has a bunch of work left to go. Primary thing I'm working on right now is figuring out how to get the flapper to work properly. Had a couple of things that slow it down too fast or so on and so forth. So until the wheel is up and operational, I am selecting games on my own for what to play until we can get all these fun, complicated games up on the wheel. So what we're going to be playing today is Flashpoint, the firefighter rescue game. So this should be the second time we've played it on the channel, and I think I'm fixing more rules as we go along, implementing them correctly, that is. So I'm still going to be playing on, let's see, we actually won on Veteran last time, so I guess it's time to bump it up to Heroic and see if we can handle that. I'm also going to roll to see how many firefighters we're going to be playing with. And yeah, I'll be back in just a moment, clearing the board, doing the initial setup. See you then. Hello, and we're back. So we're going to be playing the experienced game, and I'm going to follow the setup step by step to make sure I don't miss anything. So, very first thing, we've put the board within reach, and we've got all the door markers in place. So, choose difficulty level, we'll be playing on Heroic. So, 4 initial explosions and 5 initial hazmats. So, the first explosion, roll the black die, and it'll choose from a list of preset coordinates. So, number 5, that is red 4, black 6. So, red 4, black 6. It's in this corner of the kitchen this time. On this map, it always likes to start in the kitchen, which makes sense, I suppose. So, the explosion, any explosion will put fire in an adjacent space, it will damage any walls that it hits, and it will blow doors off the hinges. So that is our first explosion. Place a fire and a hotspot marker. So I got plenty of hotspot markers over here. Gotta make sure I set out the right number of them. So we get a hotspot on the initial explosions. Second explosion, roll both dice to determine the target space. Red 3, black 1. Okay, so that's right next to the front door. We've blown off another door. At least it'll be easy to get to this one from the outside. So that's our second explosion. Put a fire and a hotspot marker. Third explosion, flip over the black die from the previous roll. So the 1 turns into a 6, and re-roll the red die. Okay, we've got 6, 6. That's going to be down in the small bedroom. So that also gets a hotspot marker, a couple of fire. Blows off another door and damages a wall. Okay. Now we are playing at the heroic level, so roll both dice to determine the target space. And it can be anywhere that's not already on fire. 4, 4. Okay, that's another one in the kitchen. So put a fire everywhere that's next to it. Now, interestingly, when you hit another fire space, you just keep going until you reach an empty space, so it actually goes through the initial explosion, through that empty doorway, and over into this room, and finally, it knocks off yet another door. So we've lost 4 doors right at the beginning. So that's a lot of fire to deal with. Okay. Now, roll to place the hazmat markers. Because we're on Heroic, we're going to be placing 5 hazmats. So these are chemicals that have been improperly stored somewhere in the house, and if fire ever reaches their space, you resolve an explosion immediately. So anywhere that's not on fire is a valid space. So red 3, black 8. That's all the way in that corner. Second one. 4, 4, well I know that's on fire. Try again. 4, 5, also on fire. Red 1, black 7, so we're in the master bedroom. 3 more to go. Red 1, black 6. That's also in the master bedroom, right next to an external door. Okay, red 1, black 2. Make sure I'm getting that red die nice and random. So red 5, black 4. Oh, that one's in a dangerous spot right next to some burning fire. Okay, that's our starting hazmats. So now I have randomized the victim tokens a fair amount. There are 15 of them to start with, and because I feel like I may be getting too many false alarms next to each other just from maybe a previous game and I'm not randomizing them enough, so I've got a d20 that I'm going to be rolling and just going down the list. So it has to be 15 or less, so 9, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we'll take this one, and it can go anywhere that's not on fire. Red 6, black 1. Okay, that is in this corner. I'll do this a couple more times just so I feel I've randomized this a bit more. Red 2, black 7. Okay, that's... Oh, nope. Get the new one. Red 2, black 7. And adjust these up a bit. So there's 13 of them now. I can almost switch to the D12, but not yet. Oh, reroll, it's too high. Number 1. Okay, and where are you going? Red 1, black 5. Really hitting that red 1 today. Okay, now I can lower that down to the D12. And hopefully get those a bit more randomized. I felt like I was getting too many false alarms right in a row during the last game. Okay, so we've placed our initial point of interest markers. You always have 3 on the board, and you replenish up to 3 at the end of a turn. Okay, step 10, it says each player takes a specialist card. So the last thing that I'm planning to do during setup is I'm going to roll for the number of firefighters, and I'll also, at that time, go over what the specialist rolls are really quick. I think I went over it in pretty good detail in the first episode, but let's just give a quick overview. So, and now we roll to place additional hotspot markers. If the target space has a hotspot, roll again. So 3 additional hotspots if playing at the veteran or heroic level. So we're going to be placing these 3. They can be anywhere that doesn't have a hotspot already. Red 2, black 3. It doesn't have to be on pre-existing fire. Same thing. Just try rolling up there. Red 1, black 6. Now I'm back to the red 1s again. Red 2, black 7. That's on our point of interest marker. Okay, and then it says, this one says, if playing with 3 firefighters or more. So I do need to roll for the number of players. So the minimum is 2 firefighters. So I'll re-roll if I get a 1, but we're going to see how many players we're going to be playing with here. 2, okay. Going to be a tough game, but that does mean I don't have to place any additional hotspots at the start here. So we're just going to be playing with red and blue. At least they're going to get lots of turns. Okay. So, no extra hotspots based on the number of firefighters. Place additional hotspot markers on the small yellows of the board based on the level. So because we're on heroic, we can have up to 12 additional hotspots appear during the course of the game. So if you roll a space that has a hotspot, then you have to place a new hotspot on the next space that you roll that doesn't have one. So hotspots beget more hotspots. So those extra ones can appear during the course of the game. So let's see. Well, place the remaining damage markers near the board. So there are a total of 24 damage markers you can have. They represent the strength of the house. As the fire damages the house and weakens the walls, it gets closer to collapse, and that's one of the 2 ways you can lose the game. So one way is as soon as you place the last black cube on the board, you lose. The other way is to lose 4 victims to the fire. The way to win is to rescue 7 victims. Where's my 7? So in order to rescue a victim in the experienced game, you need to get them to the ambulance, not just outside. In the basic game, you can just get them outside and the ambulance picks them up automatically. Okay, so let's see, what is left here now? Place the remaining stuff around the board. Place your firefighters on any space outside the building. And then collectively decide who goes first and where to put the ambulance and engine. Okay, so we're just about ready to go, aside from choosing where those are starting specialties. So now it's time to go over the actions your firefighter can take. Okay, so let's switch over to the zoomed in view. It's like that got bumped. There we go, refocus, and good. Okay, so firefighters have a number of actions on their turn. The actions that they can take are determined by their role. So for example, the CAFS guy has 3 action points normally, but he can get some extra ones that he has to use for a very specific purpose. So the average is basically 4 action points. To imagine as we're going through this action list. So to move from one space to another, 1 action point, easy to do. To move through a fire or to carry a victim, they're deemed to be unconscious, is difficult, so it's 2 action points per space you're moving them. Likewise with the hazmats, those are heavy. In order to dispose of a hazmat, you have to bring them outside the building. It's 1 action point to open and close the doors. It is 1 action point to extinguish the fire. So to downgrade a fire from fire to smoke is an action. From smoke to off the board is an action. Notably, smoke automatically catches up to fire, so you have to completely extinguish fire if it's next to other existing fire. Back down to here. Chop, you can choose to damage the walls. So we have a couple of damage on the board already. It takes 2 damage markers to completely destroy a section of wall. Once that's happened, fire and your firefighters can pass through it as though that was another doorway. So you can chop holes in the walls to make it easier for yourself to get through, to reach the fire when it's difficult to get around a whole bunch of doors. The yellow actions are part of the experience game. So to drive one of the vehicles a quarter of the way around the board is 2 action points. If another firefighter is in the same space already, then they can ride along for free. You can switch to a different specialty. It's called a crew change. It has to be the first thing you do on your turn, and it takes 2 action points to do. And finally, firing the deck gun. That's something that you can only do from the fire truck, and it takes 4 action points. There is 1 specialist who is able to do that for more cheaply, but the deck gun basically can douse a whole bunch of fire on the board, but you have to roll dice, so you may not hit the spot you want to hit. Powerful, but risky. So finally, the turn order. You spend all of your action points. You have the option of saving some of your action points for future turns. Up to 4 per character is the max. After you've done all of your actions on a turn, you roll for the fire, and any spot that you roll, you'll either create smoke, upgrade smoke to fire, or get an explosion. And hazmats, if fire enters a space with those, causes an explosion. If fire enters a space with a point of interest, you flip it over, and if it was a victim, you lose that victim. Finally, if fire enters a spot with a firefighter, they get knocked down and sent to the ambulance where they'll start their next turn. Thankfully, firefighters automatically get evacuated somehow. And hotspots. If you roll a spot where there's a hotspot, she's come back for more. Hello. So if you roll a space that has a hotspot on it, it's basically like doubles in Monopoly. You have to roll again. So you may get explosions and just have to keep going. Hotspots are really the biggest difficulty multiplier. If you don't hit any hotspots in the early game, you'll have a much easier time. And if you keep hitting those hotspots early, you're going to have a lot of trouble, because hotspots make more hotspots. So what's the last thing? Yes, after you've done the fire rolls, you replenish points of interest up to 3. This is the thing I forget more than anything else in this game, is to replenish back up to 3 points of interest. And finally, I've already explained the game end conditions. So, right, the only other thing is what the different specialties are. So you've got the generalist. He gets 5 actions, so a little bit better at everything. He can do it all with no penalties. We've got the rescue specialist. 4 action points and 3 bonus movement AP, and they can chop for cheap. So, very good at moving, but they have a penalty for extinguishing fire. And if I've only got 2 firefighters, having one who can't extinguish fire is going to be an issue. Similarly, the paramedic. Paramedic can treat victims to allow you to walk them out instead of having to carry them out. It makes rescuing victims much easier, but she also has the double cost for fighting the fire. Hazmat technician, instead of having to carry hazmat all the way out, he can disassemble it, render whatever the hazmat is inert. So for 2 AP, he can just remove it straight from the board. Then we've got the driver operator, who is the one who's really good at firing that fire truck's deck gun for 2 action points instead of 4, and he gets rerolls, so he's good at hitting a specific spot. I may be relying on him in the beginning to try to get this initial fire down a bit. The fire captain, he can command another firefighter to move up to 2 spaces. When you only have 2 firefighters, it means you basically can move the other person 2 spaces a turn, which is not necessarily a bad thing. And he's got 4 action points on his own. Imaging technician, a very useful person, has a unique ability to spend 1 action point, flip a point of interest over, so you know which things are false alarms, so you don't have to spend time going after them. And finally, one of my personal favorites, the CAFS firefighter, gets a bunch of free action points just for extinguishing fires. So I tend to like to throw this person right at the fire and just leave them in the middle of it while someone else is doing the rescuing. But when you only have 2 firefighters to play with, what are you going to do? So when I'm looking at this fire in the beginning, I see a bunch of hazmats over in that corner where there's not a lot of fire, and they're also very close to doors. So this might be a case where I would want to bring in the rescue specialist instead of the hazmat technician, because they can just move the hazmat straight out of the building really fast. There's also points of interest all around over there. So I think one of my 2 is going to be the rescue specialist and send them over there. Now, someone else has to be fighting these fires. It's pretty much right down the middle of the board, which means it's going to be tough for the fire engine to hit them. The deck gun fires at 1 quadrant at a time, so there's a lot of empty spaces where that fire truck can miss. Now, I could start it over here. That's not a bad spot to be shooting at, because there's something in almost every space that's at least going to hit some multiple spaces. So maybe I want to start the fire engine over there, or I can just start the CAFS guy over here and just have him work through the building and try to keep the fire down while having the rescue specialist go in and out and in and out. Not really sure which way is the better way, but I love the CAFs, and I think I've got a plan for the rescue specialist. So we're going to be playing with these 2 to start. Remember, you can crew change at the fire truck at the start of your turn. I think I'll put the fire truck over here. Plan to send the rescue person around and end up over there for maybe a crew change. In case those are actually victims, let's put the ambulance over there to start with, so that the rescue specialist can just get them out right away. Right, and the CAFS person, we're going to start at that side and just hopefully run them straight through this building. That's a plan. We'll see how well that plan survives contact with the enemy. Okay. Oh, he's barely on the camera. Hello. He likes to sit on the chair next to me. It's very cute and comforting. Okay, so we only have 2 firefighters to keep track of. It means they'll be getting a lot more turns than usual, or their turn will be coming around a lot faster. So I like to use the ambulance to mark, or the spare vehicle token to mark whose turn it actively is. I think it stands out nicely on the overhead. Let's see, if I move this slightly further up Can you see some of the helper text? Not really. Up to there. Well, I showed them earlier, so you can always jump back in the video if you want to check out what someone's specific abilities are. So who do I want to start with? Fighting the fire. So Calf's firefighter is going to take the first turn. I think we are ready to start. Okay, Calf's guy, that door is already open for you. So he gets 3 actions he can use for anything and 3 specifically for extinguishing fire. So let's spend his first 2 free firefighting actions to take care of some of that fire. He has to spend 1 of his regular ones to get in the building. Now he's got 2 regular and 1 free left, so he can extinguish 1 more of these fire tokens. Let's see. Let's go after this one, just because it's got 2 walls next to it. So if any one of these things was to explode, that one would cause the most damage to the building. So now he's used all 3 of the free, 2 of his regular, and we're going to mark that he is saving 1 action for his next turn. Okay. So that is his turn. Now we roll for the fire. Red 1, black 8. So that's up in this corner, and it starts as just smoke. But that is over by where our rescue person is, who is about to start their turn. So rescue specialist has a total of 7 AP, 3 that are dedicated strictly to movement. But she sucks at putting out the fire. So, first action, let's open the door. First free movement action, can get in there. Do I want to just get that hazmat out as quick as possible? I think I do. So 2 and 3 are going to be carrying this hazmat back out the door, and it just completely disappears. It's been removed from the scene. So now I've got 3 regular movement left. I spent all 3 of the free movements there. So I have a total of 3 AP left. Let's get onto that. In fact, let's go all the way, and you spend all 3 of the... it's a false alarm. Could have started someone as the imaging technician, wouldn't have had to deal with those. So, that was not a victim. Okay, and that was every one of her APs, so now it is time to roll for the fire. Then we're going to need to do a point of interest replenish. So, where are you going? Here. Red 6, black 3. Right in front of this other door, smoke starts to creep up from underneath that dining table. Now we replenish. So I've got 12 of these left. Who's coming out? So 11. I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4. So 11 is this one. And where are you going? Anywhere that's not on fire. Red 5, black 2. So now we've got multiple points of interest over in that dining room, which is relatively unscathed at this point. I'll just take the win there. Have to move that over. When there's only 2, it's not as difficult to lose track of which thing is going next. So our calf's guy, let's just start by extinguishing all the fire that's nearby him. So all 3 of his free and 1 of his regular AP goes into putting down that fire. So now he's got 2 regular and 1 saved up action point left. Let's move there, open the door, and let's hold on to the bonus one. If he just moves in, then he's at risk of getting knocked down by an explosion and to a fire that he's not going to be able to fight right now. So, just discretion here. We're going to hold on to that bonus AP for another turn. And that means it is time to roll for the fire. What do we got? Red 1, black 6. That is right in front of the door, and that is a hot spot. That means we roll again. And whatever the last thing we land on gets its own hotspot. So 5, 7. So we place a smoke there, and because it's surrounded by fire, it immediately upgrades. And because we're following hotspots, that is now a new hotspot. So that corner of the building is very dangerous. Okay. We don't need to replenish, so it's over to our rescue specialist's turn. It'd be really nice if she could fight those smoke. Let's check out what that thing is, and then hopefully get her to some kind of safety, question mark. So movement 1, regular action to open the door, movement 2 and 3. So we've used up all of her free movement. She's got 3 regulars left. We have found a victim. On heroic, I really don't want to chop down the wall, but I could go chop chop and get her out. But I'm gonna need every piece of structural integrity I can get my hands on for this, so it really isn't an advantage to not just saving up all 3 and doing a really big move next turn. She's in a pretty safe spot right now, and maybe I'll know if I really want to get her out to that ambulance immediately or whether I've got the time to wait. Because it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to get out, and I'll have enough action points to do that next turn. Okay, time to roll for fire. Fire! Red 2, black 1. Okay, so that's right next to that front door, coming out from under the couch there. Nothing too dangerous coming out of that right now. So now we're back over to our Kafsky. Okay, Kafsky, extinguish this fire. So 1 point of regular movement. Now we'll use 3 of his extinguish AP and 1 of his regular ones to douse 2 bits of fire. So now he's got 1 of his regular moves and 1 saved up. I think we're going to save up another one for him. He's doing a fairly nice job of moving through this building as it is. So we'll just keep with this plan until something changes. So time to roll for his fire. Red 6, black 1. That is smoke right on top of this point of interest. That's a bit dangerous. Okay, but otherwise, not a problem. Back over to our rescue specialist, and thankfully that smoke did not get upgraded, so we can go ahead with that run out the door plan. So she's got the 3 movement focused AP, 3 bonus, and the extra 4. So she can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And she'll still have 2 bonus action points that we could potentially use for just about anything. So I think, let's see. Well, number 1, we have saved our first victim. So that's 1 person in the bank. We need to save a total of 7 to win, though. So that's gonna be tough. So in order to switch to a different role, you have to be at the fire truck, and you have to be the first thing you do on your turn. So with the remaining 2, she could move the ambulance over to here, but she couldn't get into the fire truck and change next turn. So I think the best action to do is to save up our bonus actions again and maintain our flexibility towards dealing with the evolving situation. So let's end her turn, which means it's time to roll for fire. Red 1, black 3. Really like that red 1 this game. Okay, so we got some smoke in the back corner of the living room. Okay, but nothing else too bad. And time to replenish. So which one are we going to get? Rolling that D12. 7. So that's this one. And where are you going? Red 1, black 1. Yeah. Do I need to get a dice tray? I do. I think that'll make the dice roll a little bit more smoothly, as I swear I'm getting too many red ones, but I'm rolling normal. Okay, so point of interest is in that starting room. Maybe send the rescue specialist over here next. And just leave her as the rescue specialist and see if I can blitz out all the people. That'd be lucky. Have to be lucky on the heroic difficulty. Okay, so that was the end of Blue Rescue Specialist's turn. We got our fire, we've replenished, so now it is the start of Kafsky's turn. Let's see. Oh, he wants to fight this fire, so 1 regular movement, 2 extinguish AP. Let's see. I almost want to move him this way, but I need him to deal with this fire. So 1 regular movement there, and then his last free extinguish and the last of his regular action points will get rid of this fire. Okay, he does have 2 saved up left from previous, so just to make sure he moved extinguished, extinguished, moved. That was his normal 6. So if I spend the last 2 of the bonus, if you can fully extinguish fire, I think it's always a great idea to do it. And now I've got 1 big block of fire, but I've gotten fairly lucky to not have had any more explosions so far. So that's Kafskai's turn. Time to roll for the fire. Red 5, black 2. So now we've got smoke on the next point of interest that's way over in that corner. Eee. Okay, so now we're at the rescue specialist. That hazmat is still troubling, but not extremely so. Just the fact that I have a chance to get these points of interest with no fire in the way, I think I've got to try for this. So spend 2 of her regular action points to drive the ambulance over to the west side of this building. So let's spend 2 of hers. She has 3 free movement AP, so she can get straight to that, essentially for... another false alarm. I'm doing it randomly as I can think of to do it, and it's still getting all those false alarms. Okay, so she's used her free... Oh, over here. She's used her 3 free movement AP to get in there, so she's got 2 of her regular AP left, along with these other 2 bonus ones that we've saved up. In case this thing gets upgraded to fire, let's just use her other 2 movement to get her to the doorway there. Let's see. I think we'll hold on to the other 2 saved up action points, though. The nice thing about the ambulance is it comes with its own driver, so you can do the drive action as basically calling the radio to ask the ambulance to move without you actually being there. The fire truck, one of you has to be there to move the fire truck around. So I can move the rescue specialist through the house, check those out, and then call the ambulance over, rather than having to go over there, drive it, and then go out and back in. I think yeah, that'll be my plan. But her turn ends. Time to roll for fire. Red 1, black 2. So now we've got smoke directly on top of this hazmat, which is a problem. If any of those bits get upgraded to fire, they are all going to flash up. Hence, Flashpoint. Let's see, and because I got another false alarm, it is time to replenish. Oh, I've got a D10 here, so let's swap this out. What are we going to get this time? Number 4. So that's you. And where are you going, number 4? A red 4, black 3. Right in the center of the house. I mean, that's kind of perfect. That's where I'm going to be sending the rescue specialist through anyway. So that works out nicely. Back over to Kafskai. Okay, let's see if we can fight the rest of this fire over here. So, regular movement. 2 free extinguish on that. His second regular movement. And he's got 1 free extinguish and 1 of his regular left. He can take out that fire. And he managed to extinguish that whole wall of fire coming straight in through that front door. He has done his job today. Although he is now out of action points, I'm considering chopping down that wall just to get the last bit of fire for him. That'd be pretty nice, as long as the rest stays under control. Fire roll. Red 3, black 2. So some more smoke appearing right in her way. What's the best way to do this? Well, it is her turn, so let's find out. She can just use her free movement. 1, 2, 3. Check this out. We have found a kitty. We must save the kitty. So she has her 4 regular movement points left. Even though the kitty seems small, it must be very heavy because you still have to spend 1, 2, 3, 4 action points to get them over to here. So she's got 2 left. I think we'll continue letting it ride in terms of just holding on to those. Moving 1 more space over isn't going to change anything, so maintaining that flexibility again. Time for our fire roll. You can see over here, I can roll over there decently. Okay, so that was red 6, black 8. That is smoke coming out of the small bedroom sink. Probably flashing out from underneath that door. Okay, we don't need to replenish. So now we are back over to Kafsky. So he is right next to this big fire, but he would have to walk all the way around, wasting all of his free extinguish. I think it is actually worth it to do the chop. So I almost never use it. Double check. Yeah, chop costs 2 action points. Okay. So 2 of his regular action points go into intentionally weakening the house, which is such a weird thing to do. But I guess that's 2 of those. 2 of his extinguish action points go into that. Now he doesn't have any saved up, so if he moved in, the only thing he could do with his last action point would be reduced to smoke, and it would just go right back. Let's just hold right there. We'll hold on to 1 of his other action points, and we'll start tackling that room on his next turn. So he's done. Time to roll. Fire! Red 2, black 8. So that's another one in the master bedroom. Starting to get some smoke around this board, and at some point it's going to flash back up. Save as many people as we can in the meantime, though. It's now back to rescue specialist person. She's purring pretty loudly. That's good, because we are saving the kitty. So the free movement, so spend 2 of those. Her last free movement, and the first of her regular movement gets to there. The second of her regular actions gets her to there. 2 more. That's all of her actions on the board minus the bonus ones we've saved up gets her outside. And if we spend these 2 actions, we can call the ambulance over. And we have saved the kitty. And she's very happy. Okay, so rescue specialist is living up to her name as well today. Okay, she used all of the AP, so now it's time to roll for the fire, and then we have to replenish again. We've now saved 2 victims. All right, things are going well so far. Red 2, black 2. Oh dear. That is looking extremely dangerous. Any one of those switches over to fire, the whole bit will go, and that hazmat's going to explode. Eek, that's dangerous. But I only have so many firefighters, and the guy who's good at fighting the fire is on the far side. Probably fight that fire, put him in the fire truck, maybe switch him over to somebody else. But now it's time to roll to replenish. So we've got 9 of them now. Just fill those in. So roll our d10. Oh, that's the one we don't have. 5. And where are you going, Mr. 5? Red 4, black 6. Directly on top of our calf sky, which means as soon as his turn starts, I suppose, I think automatically it's going to get flipped over. And it was a false alarm. That's an interesting ordering question. Does it go immediately? I'm going to pause and check on that really quick. Okay, looking down at the rules. So, when you're replenishing the points of interest, if there's a firefighter in the space, immediately reveal it and remove it if it's a false alarm. So you keep replenishing up to 3. So that does mean that we're pulling another one out here. Okay, I do have a D8. That's so many false alarms still. So who's it going to be? You, and where are you going to go to replenish us back up to 3? Red 2, black 5. Okay, that is in the side bathroom. Weird that that bathroom is shared between the master bedroom and the living room, but I suppose every space has to go somewhere. So we've got someone else in that room. We were there in the beginning. Where were they? I can't complain too much. I think we're doing pretty well. Okay, so we are replenished up. That was the end of the rescue specialist's turn, because she just saved the kitty. So we're back over to Calf's guy over on this side. We just chopped through that wall. It'd be a pity not to use it, so first regular action. Then all 3 of his free extinguish and another one of his regular. Puts those 2 out. He's got 1 regular remaining. I think it's best to hold on to that one so that he can do some more stuff on the next turn. But the hardest part for him is that he's really slow. So once he's finally fought all the fire, you have to get him to somewhere else. And it's so much, all the extinguish is wasted at that point. So he has shined, but now his downside is going to come into play pretty soon. But that was his action. Now we roll for fire. Red 6, black 8. So this has been upgraded. Maybe we'll just chop our way straight out to the fire truck, because it looks like he's got a new spot to go to now. Okay, we don't need to replenish, so we're back over to Blue's turn. So the rescue specialist has a whole bunch of smoke in her way. Almost worth it just to have her extinguish that stuff. But the door is open and I can move through the smoke, so let's use our 3 movement. Let's see what this is. False alarms again. I cannot randomize this any more than I have. Whew, okay, but we don't have to waste time getting the false alarm out of the building. So that was her 3 free movement. So 2 regular actions gets us to here, where we have found a victim. She's got 2 more of these. I want to get out of the space with the smoke just in case it gets upgraded. So her last 2 actions will be getting the victim to this empty space. Sorry, kitty. Okay. So that was all of her actions. Time to roll for the fire. Let's see. Red 3, black 2. It has finally happened. Okay, now we got a big fire problem up here. So that's upgraded to fire, but that means all of this smoke goes and bursts into flame itself. But we've also got hazmat. That instantly resolves an explosion in that space. So fire goes out to the next open space. We've got building damage on that wall, and it busts down this door. But at least it's off the board now. But suddenly that quadrant is mostly on fire. That's a good target for the fire engine, I think. Or at least if we could just get Calf's guy back over there. Okay. Let's see. And yep, we do need to replenish because we had another false alarm there. So out of these 8, these 7, who's it going to be? Oh, it can't be number 8. Number 3. And where are you going, number 3? Red 5, black 8. Well, at least Calf's guy is going over there. Ooh, that's otherwise a very dangerous spot to be in. Speaking of Calf's guy, it is now his turn. Okay, so Calf's guy, well, first start with a regular move. 2 extinguish action points, gets into there. His second regular move, that's the action point number 3 we can use on opening the door. And now he's got 1 extinguish AP left. He can actually just downgrade that to smoke for the moment and hold on to his last. Let's see, he started there, so he's only moved twice, so he should have one of his regular action points remaining. Used his last free one over there. I think we can hold on to that last action point for now, because we can just spend one of his free ones next turn getting rid of the rest of that smoke. And as smoke, it's a lot less dangerous. Even if it bumps up to fire, it's not going to explode. As long as it doesn't go up twice in a row. I've rolled that spot a few times this game, hopefully not too many times more. Okay, so he held on to the last of his action points. I'm pretty sure I've only used 2 of them because it was move, move. And he opened the door, right. He does not have an extra action point. Yep. Okay. Oh yeah, he used all of those. It was just if he wanted to use one of his extra action points. So we'll hold on to the 2 bonus ones and not extinguish that. Okay, I think I fixed that problem. So he did use all of his. Okay, so now it's time for his fire roll. All the fire is on the far side of the building. Red 5, black 1. We've got smoke over there, and now we've got another solid wall of smoke that's just waiting to become a flashpoint. Okay, but that, let's see, we don't need to replenish. There's still 3 on the board. He still counts. So, we're starting the rescue specialist's turn. And there's a very clear goal here. Get them out. So let's use the movement AP and the last of the free moves plus one of her regular moves, and we have saved our third victim. Okay. So she's got 3 action points left. I think it might be time to swap her over to a different person just to fight fire for a bit. So I can spend 2 of her action points to get the ambulance over to that side, and her 4th action point gets her to the truck. So next turn I can start her turn by switching over to a different occupation. I'm thinking of maybe doing the driver to get or the operator gunner just to get the fire truck over there and shoot at all of that stuff. Okay, so she's in her position. Let's see, I need to roll for fire and then replenish. Red 4, black 6. Oh, hotspot. We haven't had one of those for a little bit. So now we have to roll again. Red 6, black 7. Okay, well, good news is it's right on top of the calf sky, so he is ready to take that down. So that room is full of hotspots. Okay, and replenish time. So we've got 6. This one. And who's in, or rather, where are you going to go? Red 4, black 2, that's on fire, but we have these handy little arrows that indicate where points of interest specifically go, so it goes over to this space. Arrows are only used for points of interest. Any other things that that would randomly choose a location that might be invalid, we don't use those for. But we got those arrows. So we got a point of interest over in that room you were just at. Let's see. So now we're at the start of Calf's guy's turn. Well, we're definitely using his free extinguish to get rid of those 2 smoke. And we are absolutely going to get him onto that point of interest and see what it is. Another false alarm. I don't know how many of those there are, but this may have been every single one of them. I think there might be 5 points of interest in there. Because there's a total of 10 victims amongst all of the tokens. And 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. So I think I've hit every single false alarm so far. On the plus side, he doesn't have to walk anyone out. But he's only got 1 of his regular movement points left. And he's got 2 of those. So he doesn't have enough to chop his way out to get to the fire truck. I think he's going to have to go the long way around, because this person's going to be gone by then. Or the other person can help him chop his way out, I suppose. Sure. Okay, so he's moved 2. He'll do 1 chop. And blue person is just going to help him chop and then save a ton of movement AP on their turn. Oh, they're just going to be sitting there for a while, though. But yeah, he at least needs to ride the ambulance to the other side, because he is too slow by himself. Okay, so that's the end of his turn. We need to roll for fire and then replenish. The fire, red 6, black 7. Again. So that smoke is back, and it's a hot spot. We keep rolling. Red 2, black 6. Okay, we've got some more smoke in that room, and another new hotspot back in that room. They're in little groups. Interesting. Now it's time to replenish. So of those 5, I can roll this die now. Number 4. Yes, that's this one, because I didn't move them up. So where are you going, point of interest? Red 4, black 1. That is not a safe spot for you to be. Not at all. Okay. Well, we're all replenished up, and we're back over to blue's turn. And now I'm thinking, forget the other stuff. We need to save that person if we possibly can. Because I can use the free movement, or I can just move the fire truck twice, because she can drive it. So she can use her 4 AP to get the fire truck over there. And then the 3 movement AP will at least... I'm pretty certain there aren't any false alarms left, but I can get to that person and then hopefully get them out next turn. But yeah, if I can't get them out right now, it's just a whole bunch of danger. But I gotta use that movement AP or I'll just waste it. Is there someone else who could do this better? Really, the cost of 2 AP for just doing the crew change action is what I can't spare at the moment. So, yeah. Sorry, Calf Sky, you're gonna have to catch the ambulance on your own, it looks like. So, drive and drive. Oh, no, onto the yellow spaces. And then the 3 free movement actions. We have found a victim. And that is a supremely dangerous space to be standing in right now. But she's used all of her action points. Now we have to get a little bit lucky. Will we get lucky? Red 5, black 8. That's literally on top of the Calf Sky. I guess that counts as lucky. Okay, no replenish right now, so back over to Calf Sky. He might as well use his free extinguish on that. I don't want to move him out to try to extinguish the other thing. I need to get him out and to that ambulance. So 2 of his regular action points go into doing the chop. He can move out on his own for 1, and he can use that spare action point to get onto the ambulance. So at the very least, like maybe the rescue specialist, if they somehow have extra action points, can call the ambulance and accelerate him over to that side of the board. But he's done everything he possibly can, so now it's time to roll for fire. Red 2, black 7. Oh, so much smoke. Ah, hot spot. We gotta roll again. Rolling for fire. Red 4, black 5. Okay, more smoke in the center of the building. And our new hotspot is there. Well, those linked up again. We got blocks of 3. A couple on their own. I hesitate to think what that means for that section. But that's the end of his turn. He finished his roll for fire. So it is Blue's turn, and she can get that victim straight out of there. So using the 3 movement AP and 2 of her own, or 1 of her own to make a total of 4 there. She's got the victim outside, not fully safe yet, but she can spend 2 of her own AP calling the ambulance, but she's only got 1 left. So I guess we're going to have to hold on to it. But thankfully, just the Calf Sky getting over there is going to save the victim when that rolls around. Okay, what time is it? It's time to roll for fire. Red 4, black 4. If I recognize the number, that's not a good sign, because that means we got a hotspot. So we keep rolling. That's a lot of tokens on the board now. Red 1, black 3. Okay, this has finally hit, because that is an explosion. So it goes in that direction, into that room, and it damages this wall, and it damages that wall. So that part of the house is suddenly not doing so hot. Not so hot at all. Okay. But there's smoke everywhere. This could flash up at any point. Quite exciting. Okay. Let's see. Was that the result of a hotspot? This was the rescue specialist's turn. I think that was the result of a hotspot, because she hit somewhere over here first. Yeah, I recognized the 4-4, and then boom. Okay, so we placed the hotspot at 1-3. and we don't replenish because that victim has not been saved yet, it's still possible for the fire to explode out the side of the building and take out that victim. We can't just move them further from the building. That would be nice. But part of the hard mode rules. Okay, so Rescue Specialist turn is finally done. Kafsky finished getting the ambulance over to there with 2 of his action points. We've met up with the Rescue Specialist and saved a victim. We're up to 4, but we need 7. We need 3 more. So anything that's left is on the table for rescues. Okay. So he has 1 action point and 3 extinguish action points left. Do I send him in the house, or do I move him over to switch him over to the driver? I think it's driver time, even though Kafsky is really good at this. I need to let the rescue operator keep trying to get these points of interest because that's how we win. So his last action point will be moving 1 space over to the fire truck so that next turn he can switch over to the operator. And that means it's time to roll for fire, and we need to replenish. Red 4, black 2. Oof, that's another explosion time. So we're going to start taking a lot of structural damage here. So it hits both walls that are next to it, and it flashes all the way through and has blown a hole all the way through on that side of the building. Yeah, that's really dangerous. Okay. Yep, that one was not a hotspot. He just straight rolled that one. Whew. So no hotspot marker. Yeah, this is pretty dangerous over there. And we need to replenish. So which of those 4? I'll just divide this in 2. So that's the last one. They're all victims at this point, so I don't think it matters. But where is this point of interest going? Please be right in front of that doorway. Nope, so 4 and 6. That is a valid spot because there isn't fire, but it is an extremely dangerous spot because any of those could flash up at a moment's notice. Okay. We are caught up. So it's the rescue specialist's turn. I was planning on switching her out, but she's doing her job pretty well, I have to say. Perhaps there's fire in the way, so I can't just run straight through. Let's take this ambulance around. So 2 of her regular actions, and she can use her 3 movement AP to get straight to this point and see what it is. Yep, that's a person. Hopefully next turn, she can just take that person straight back out. So she used 2 to drive over there. She used her 3 free ones, so she's got 2 regular left and the bonus. Let's get that person out of the danger spot with directly under the fire with her remaining 2 regular action points. I think she's looking like she's in a decent spot, although that is all dangerous. That is extremely dangerous. But where these victims are, she's doing okay. So end of her turn, fire roll. Red 2, black 6. That's not good. So that catches on fire, which ignites every space in there. Every space in that room except the one with the hazmat is now on fire. But that was a hot spot. So we keep rolling. Red 2, I rolled the exact same spot. Well, no, I didn't roll the exact same spot. I rolled the one next to it. So there's an explosion in this space, which is going to cause us a lot of pain because it damages that wall. It damages this wall. It puts fire in that space. And it puts fire in that space. And unfortunately, we now know that all of these... Oh, we lost the doggy. All of them are victims that we will lose at this point. So that sucks. But also, because that hazmat was on fire, it explodes on its own. So we have caused even more damage. We damaged that wall. We damaged this wall. We damaged that wall. And this wall is all the way down. Now suddenly we only have 6 spare hit points left for this building. This damage is coming fast. It's a race. Get the remaining victims out before the house goes down. And let's see. Now we have to replenish because we lost someone during the end phase of her turn. So where's the new person coming in? Red 4, black 1, so there's someone there. The arrows go to there, and then to here. Okay. I think it's worth going back, grabbing that person, and getting them out, just because that might catch on fire. But that's great. We've got more people right next to the rescue specialist and the ambulance. That's a good combo to have. But it is now Capsky's turn. At the very beginning of his turn, he spends his first 2 action points to switch his role over to the driver operator. And just to remind how this role, its special ability, he can fire the deck gun for only 2 action points, which is great, that's how many he has left. And when he fires the deck gun, he can re-roll either or both dice to try to get into a better spot with it. So, now red is no longer Kafsky, he is the operator, and we are going to immediately fire that deck gun at this horrifically burning building. So, he targets that space, so you roll the dice, and any one that's not in that quadrant, so we hit red 1, but the black 6 is not part of this quadrant, so we flip that die over, and it's 1. So he has hit space 1-1 here, which is not a bad space to hit. So I could take that one. That will protect the walls a bit. So I will take that one. He could re-roll both. There's always the chance that I'll hit one of these spaces, which would do very little to halt the fire. And next time he can just double hit it and try to get a more specific spot. But right now, the key is just reduce the fire. Okay, so that was 2 to change and 2 to fire the deck gun. So that was his whole turn. It's time to roll for the fire. Red 3, black 1. So we get smoke right here again, which instantly gets upgraded to fire because it's next to those, but it's also a hot spot, so we roll again. Red 6, black 6. That's over here, but that's also a hot spot. We keep rolling. Red 2, black 6. Ah, this is the worst of everything. So, not only is it a hot spot, but we've got an explosion, so it damages the wall next to it, goes straight out, damages that wall. There's now a hole. That one, it actually goes out through the open door. This one, it goes through that open door, and now we've got fire in that spot. Well, we got lucky that it didn't do a lot more damage, but we're still rolling for fire. 4 consecutive fire rolls. That's a lot. 5, 7. Oh, it's... At least we're only putting down smoke, but it was a hot spot. We're still rolling. Okay, red 6, black 3. This spot gets upgraded, and we put down a fresh hotspot. So there is now fire blocking our rescue person from getting to that ambulance. That's a problem. But at least we're done rolling fire. I think we rolled 5 that time. Most I think I've ever seen. Woo! Okay. And we don't need to replenish. There's 1 over there and 2 over here. So the rescue specialist's turn starts. Okay. So I know I want to get that person out of that smoke. This is super dangerous, but it's going to take 4 of her 8 action points to completely get rid of that. It would be 2 just to downgrade it to smoke, which I guess I have to do regardless. So if I spend her first 2 action points there, I could spend her free movements and one of the other ones to just get this guy to safety right now. And I could spend the remaining stuff getting close to that other person. I feel like I have to do that. Save the person who's right in front of you right now. But I could get them out, and that person is still in a lot of danger. So I've spent 2 action points to downgrade that to smoke. 1 free action point. You see, yep, that is indeed another person. Her remaining 2 free movement points gets to there. So now she's got 2 regular action points left and the 1 bonus point. I think what I want to do is downgrade this the rest of the way, even though she's terrible at it. I want there to be nothing between me and these victims and the way out. I don't want this to potentially get flared up from these other things. So I'm going to spend her other 2 action points as well, getting rid of that smoke. So that was all of her movement points and all of her regular action points. She still is holding on to that 1 bonus one. But I think that's everything that she can do. She's still doing a pretty great job. So, time to roll for fire. Red 4, black 4. Very familiar. So that catches fire, which means everything next to it catches fire, and we have lost another person. Oof. And that was a hot spot, so we have to keep rolling. Red 5, black 3. That is exactly where we are standing, which terrifies me. And it is now our newest hotspot. Lots of stuff on this space. But I mean, I'm really glad that these weren't already all connected by smoke, but any of those catches, and we're going to lose both those victims the game. So that's extreme danger right now. But we are in extreme danger regardless if any of these things explode. Whew. Okay, and I need to replenish because we just lost another person. So where are you going? Red 1, black 3. So following the arrows to that space, to this space, to there. Okay. You are also surrounded by fire, although those are the only ones that would immediately kill. Oof, but yeah, any of those catches at the end of this guy's turn, and we lose the game. But I can't really fight the fire right there with him. He's too far away. We have to get lucky and not have any of those 4 spots catch fire. He just has to fight the fire that's in front of him. So let's fire that deck gun and try to reduce the fire in any of these spaces that we possibly can. So, okay, 5 and 8. So the 5 is not in this quadrant. So 2. 2's nice and central. And the 8 we flip over becomes a 3. So red 2, black 3. That takes out 3 spaces of fire. I feel like I have to take it. Now, what I really want is to get either one of those or one of those. I don't think I'm going to move them to a different spot right now. Like maybe next turn I'll move them there and shoot that big bunch of fire. I have to fire the deck gun again and hope I can get one of those nasty spots left over here. Okay, red 1, black 8. So the 8 flips over to a 3 again. So red 1, black 3 is not helpful. And really, I don't want to keep either of those columns. So I'm going to use his special ability to re-roll both dice. And I have to take it this time, so I may just get unlucky here. Okay, the 6 flips over to the 1, and the 5 flips over to a 2. So red 1, black 2. He has hit a whole bunch of nothing with his second shot. Darn. Okay, that is the end of the operator's turn. Excuse me. So, time to roll for the fire. Red 4, black 6. If I recognize the number, that's not a good sign. Boom. So, we've got fire. Fire. Goes out that side over to here. Fire. And through that wall, fire. It lights all of this smoke up into fire. So much fire. And I still need to rescue 3 more people. I feel like I've been at that exact number for a while. Ooh. And that was also a hotspot at 4-6, so we are rolling again. Man, that one five fire roll turn. Oh, this is bad. So we've hit this one. So red 1, black 7. It's going to damage 3 different walls. At least now that they're down, they can't explode any further. And it goes through to here. I'm actually very low on fire tiles for this game. That's kind of amazing. I've only got these 5 left. So this house is on maximum fire. I also only have 1 spare hit point of building left as well. And it is the rescue specialist's turn. Suddenly those early chops are not looking so great in retrospect. Let's see, okay, yeah, that is separate. But if that space gets hit, we also lose. So she has the 3 free movement hit points, or action points, and the 4 bonus, and 1 saved up. So she could have up to 8. So I can rescue 1 person, move back in, and get the other person into the doorway. I gotta do it. Rescuing victims is how you win. So movement. We have saved our 5th victim. So that was the 3 free movement and 1 of those. 2 more of her regular actions. It's back to the victim. And then her last regular action and the bonus action gets her to the doorway with a victim. So close. Okay, now we roll for fire. Red 1, black 4. Uh-oh. So fire. And damage. We have run out of structural integrity. The building has collapsed. And the firefighters lose. Still, this was a very exciting game. This was really close all the way to the end. Oh, all those false alarms in the beginning. Clearly, I need to focus more in on that imaging technician, but when I only had 2 people, I didn't have a spare person to sit in the truck to do, like, swapping between imaging and, like, driving the truck around, which would have been nice. But with only 2 firefighters, I couldn't really do that. Focused in on the 2 rolls I did, it actually went pretty well. That initial fire, going straight across, and the CAFS person knocking it out worked really great, but then he was sort of stuck because he's so slow. Rescue Specialist, I had the whole game. She was doing great. Using the ambulance combined with her huge amount of movement, we managed to save most of the people. And almost our 6th one, but the 7th one, that was going to be tough to get to, and who knows where the last one was going to end up there. Yep, in fact, we would have placed it this turn. Where were you going to go? Red 5, black 3. That was an eminently savable position. If she had had another turn, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, it would have taken 2 more turns for her to get it out anyway, so the fire would have gotten it. But that would have been an extremely lucky position as well to get the person out. Well. So, this time we have lost, but it was still a great game. Hope you enjoyed this too, and I hope to see you again next time on Wheel of Games. Bye-bye.